Donald Trump will not be sneaking away. An outgoing president retains his powers during the transition, and Donald Trump will not hesitate to use them to promote his interests and harm his successor. Donald Trump's presidency will be controversial until the last moment. His refusal to admit defeat and his insistence on convincing his millions of supporters of the next president's illegitimacy have already demonstrated that he will not leave without poisoning the atmosphere. And it's not over. Even though the president's daily public hours are singularly empty, he will not be idle between now and January 20th. Sowing obstacles. In foreign policy, Donald Trump is not encumbered by the reserve usually displayed by outgoing presidents. For example, he announced the withdrawal of the United States from the Open Skies Treaty, which allows aerial reconnaissance as part of disarmament agreements. Joe Biden has already signaled his intention to re-enter this treaty, but Trump has ordered that planes assigned to this surveillance be immediately scrapped, which would complicate matters significantly. Vladimir Putin will not complain about it. Russia has been grumbling against this treaty for a long time and could take advantage of the American departure to justify its own withdrawal. The move came as no surprise, but more presidential decrees are now expected to stand in the way of Biden's path. Yesterday, the president announced his decision to pardon his first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, who had pleaded guilty to criminal charges of lying under oath before withdrawing the plea more recently. This pardon follows that granted to Roger Stone and signals the high probability that other pardons will follow for those close to Trump such as Steve Bannon or Paul Manafort, not to mention the preventive pardons that the president could grant to members of his family or to himself, to make them immune to federal criminal prosecution. If we add to this the revenge he has already taken against those he deemed disloyal and that he could still take before his departure, it is clear that he will stop at nothing to use or abuse his power in order to promote their personal and political interests. Scorched earth policy. Beyond the actions already committed, one wonders how far Donald Trump will go in this tactic clearly aimed at harming his opponents or detractors as much as possible, regardless of their party. Already, those preparing to take over the management of the pandemic have lost precious weeks because of the obstacles it has sown, and in several ministries, Democratic transitional officials are expecting tricks. Even Republicans are petrified at the thought of upsetting whoever talks about coming back in 2024 and who could continue to hurt those he deems disloyal for a long time even if he does not return. Like the Trump presidency, this transition will show us all the colors.